Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. We're going to talk Browns and NFL news and NBA and Cavs news, MLB and Tribe news. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who is the winningest coach in NFL history? I will have the answer later on the podcast. The team announced its full details of their preseason schedule, and I'm going to give that to you right now. Week 1 of the preseason, Saturday, August 15th. The Browns will take on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. That'll be a 1 p.m. start. Week 2, Saturday, August 22nd. The Browns will take on the Green Bay Packers at legendary Lambeau Field in Green Bay at 4 p.m. Week 3, Sunday, August 30th in Cleveland. Here at home, the Browns will take on the Minnesota Vikings, and that'll be a 4 p.m. start. And week 4, the final week of the preseason, the final preseason game, the Browns will take on Thursday, September 3rd, the Browns will take on, in Cleveland, here at home, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7:30 p.m. And that'll be the 4 dress rehearsal games before we start the regular season, which will be on Sunday, September 13th. That will be against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. And hopefully we can win the season opener and end our skid of opening day losses. Well, there are 3 Cleveland Browns that could be in their final year with the team. With a new general manager and new contract owed to Myles Garrett, here are 3 Cleveland Browns that could be playing in their last season in Cleveland. Newly hired general manager Andrew Berry has made his stamp quickly with the Cleveland Browns. Berry was able to bring in the top tight end, offensive tackle, and backup quarterback available via free agency. Along with that, Berry was graded high by many experts for his 2020 draft picks in this year's draft. As you break down the Browns roster, you will find there aren't a ton of glaring weaknesses at any position. The linebacker depth chart is slightly weak and not as deep as some would like, but with new defensive coordinator Joe Woods expected to run a 4-2-5 scheme most snaps, the position isn't as important as with other teams around the league. Now, defensive end is another position of some concern for many. To begin the season with the Browns, the Browns are in a solid position, with Myles Garrett and Oliver Vernon starting and Adrian Claiborne as the backup. However, after Claiborne is Chad Thomas and Porter Gustin, who both showed limited abilities after the suspension of Myles Garrett last season. The Browns are 1 season away from going to a solid below average. Berry has positioned himself well for the future with multiple 1-year contracts as well as front-loaded deals to keep the team flexible on cap space. This will allow Berry to evaluate talent for a full year before committing to a player, as well as give him the power to give Garrett a huge contract, which he is deserving of. The Browns would be smart to sign Garrett before the 2020 season after the suspension last year. Look for Garrett to have a monster season, which could make his price tag even higher if the club waits. With Berry likely to want his guys on the roster instead of John Dorsey's guys, along with contracts due to Garrett and Baker Mayfield, likely not until next offseason. A few bigger names could be in their last season with the Browns, let's dive into three potential names that could be salary cap cuts moving forward after 2020. Odell Beckham or Jarvis Landry. The Browns have the luxury of having two Pro Bowl wide receivers who are making over $14 million per year. While that works now with a very young team, it isn't feasible moving forward for two reasons. One, wide receivers aren't viewed as crucial by analytical teams. This is a belief, that a quarterback or offensive line is far more important, and someone catching the ball is replaceable. To the Browns, Pro Bowl receiving duo appears to be underachieving as of late. And I can understand why, and I think a lot of fans can too. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. have each had tremendous seasons, but were not able to do so together in Cleveland last season. Mayfield and Beckham never seemed to be on the same page. Plus, he played through an injury the entire season, which is a factor. Landry put up a strong start line in 2019, but many think catches and yards were in garbage time of games the Browns were already out of. It's tough to say which receiver will be looking for a job next season, but 2020 will likely be a job interview for both Landry and Beckham. Both are under contract past 2020, but both have zero guaranteed dollars on their contract after this upcoming season. Now, the Kevin Stefanski offense has struggled in the past to field two star receivers with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Now, remember, Diggs eventually ended up being traded from the Minnesota Vikings to the Buffalo Bills. Look for the Browns' offense to be substantially better in 2020 with Beckham and Landry both having strong but not amazing seasons, because Beckham's trade value would be so much better. Would be so much better look for the Browns to try and move on from the star after this season with Beckham's $15 million plus off the books for 2021 through 2023, and the cap will be freed up for expansions with Garrett and Mayfield. Another one that could be in their final season with Cleveland is Sheldon Richardson. Another John Dorsey signing that could be out after 2020 is defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson. Most fans will be disappointed to see Richardson out, as he was a bright spot in 2019 once Garrett was suspended. Richardson has shown the versatility of being able to play defensive end and tackle, which is a tremendous asset to the Browns. Now, the bottom line here is dollars and cents. Richardson is under contract through the 2021 season, and is guaranteed and only carries a deep cap hit of $1.66 million. Richardson will be 30 after next season and likely has 2 to 3 strong years left to give in the NFL. With another strong performance in 2020, the Browns will not likely want to pony up a contract extension, and Richardson will likely become a luxury the Browns can afford. And I think a lot of fans are going to be disappointed if Richardson does indeed out after the 2020 season. Andrew Billings and Larry Obijobi will both be out of contract after the 2020 season. However, both will be cheaper options than Richardson if they perform well next season. Billings is a dominant run stuffer, while Obijobi has stepped up tremendously as the interior pass rusher. The Browns will certainly have to have work to do at the position after next season if they cut ties with Richardson. But at the time being, analytics will point towards focusing money at the defensive end and cornerback versus defensive tackle. Browns, because Obijobi will have been with the Browns for 4 seasons, and there could be potential for a long-term extension. Otherwise, for Barry to continue optimize 1-year deals to keep the salary cap in check. Now, another one that could be in their final season is Chris Hubbard. Many believe the 2020 number 10 draft pick, Jedrick Wills Jr., is a surefire opening day starter at left tackle for the Browns. However, there is still a chance that Wills doesn't live up to expectations or adjust to switching sides. Unlikely, but there is a chance the team could consider. But the restructuring of Chris Hubbard's contract was crucial. Hubbard agreed to take less money in 2020 and has no guaranteed dollars for the 2021 season. The contract will void if Hubbard plays enough snaps in 2020. It appears unlikely that Hubbard will see the field in 2020, and his $6 million cap number in 2021 will be too much for the Browns to swallow. The offensive line is the one position in the NFL that no team can have enough of, which would make Hubbard a likely trade piece. In this scenario, the Browns wouldn't have to eat the $2 million of the dead cap in 2021, and they could likely get a late round pick out of someone who isn't crucial to the team. If a team faces, a significant faces significant injuries, at tackle in 2020, like the Browns in 2019, and Will shows early he is the real deal, Hubbard could be traded as early as next season. Hubbard has significant starting experience at tackle, and a team in trouble could overcompensate for his immediate services. He was below average starting tackle for the Browns, but will likely be a crucial trade piece for the team moving forward. The 3 players above are scheduled to be under contract past 2020, but there will be many more veterans out of contract who will likely be moving on as well. Names like Vermin, Terrence Mitchell, and Kareem Hunt will all be contributors in 2020, but will not receive extensions from the Browns. We're starting to run out of time. I'm going to continue this because I've got some more Browns news. So I'm going to upload this video, and I will be right back, so stay tuned for more.